Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things fandom on this channel and we talk about them in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you know you've come to the right place. We are so happy to have you here today, friends. And today is also Terrifying Tuesday. And that means we're going to be talking about all things horror. And today I have kind of a different video because rather than talk about some of the same horror topics that keep coming up in the news, I thought we would take a look into the future. Take a look at all the horror movies that are coming out this year. So let's jump right into it. Now, we do have some that have already come out, and today we're going to take a look at all the upcoming horror movies that are still coming out this year. So, first up, we have a project that I'm sure that everybody knows about. It gained a lot of publicity for not getting released and also for being a reboot of a cult classic movie, and that is The Toxic Avenger. Now, the new Toxic Avenger is directed by Macon Blair, starring Peter Dinklage as the Toxic Avenger, and Jacob Tremblay, and Taylor Page. Now, the movie's release date is August 29th, 2025, so that's right around the corner. Now, what you have to remember is that this movie is based on an older project. And because this movie is based on an older project, it comes with a lot of people comparing it to that. We will be watching this movie as soon as it's humanly possible for this movie to be watched by the audience in general, because some people have already seen it. There have been screenings of this movie, and I've even gotten some people in the comments when we've talked about this movie before that say that they saw the movie and it's pretty good. I haven't really heard anything negative about it, but then again, the big audience that hasn't seen the movie yet, that's where it's going to either succeed or flop. So here's looking forward to that movie just around the corner, The Toxic Avenger. Coming up next, we have The Conjuring Last Rites, which is supposed to, as I understand it, be the last in the Conjuring franchise, the final act. And this movie is directed by Michael Chaves and starring the same people that have been in this franchise from the beginning. And it's just around the corner at September 5th, 2025. Now, the Conjuring universe has been going on for a while, and if this is their last hurrah, this has got to be amazing. Now let's get into one that I haven't heard many people talk about, but it is still one of those films that I have high hopes for, and that is The Long Walk. The Long Walk is directed by Francis Lawrence, starring Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, and Mark Hamill. The release date is September 12th, 2025, and the premise of this movie comes from Stephen King's Richard Bachman persona. That basically people didn't know that he was Richard Bachman for a very long time. This was just something that people didn't know. It was another pen name that he used and wrote things under. But the Richard Bachman books gained popularity once people started figuring out that that was him. One of these stories that was one of the more better known Bachman stories is a tale about young men forced by the government to walk until they die. And the winner gets a grand prize. Now, this is a very strange tale, and it's either going to be one that people are going to get behind and they're going to absolutely love, or this movie's just going to be another one of those movies. But looking at it from the point of view that it's a Stephen King novel, and it's an adaptation of a Stephen King book, I can see where this one's going to gain popularity really quick. And if it's a good story, then it's going to have that watchability factor too. And people could be talking about this movie for years to come. Much the same way as they talk about The Green Mile and some of Stephen King's kind of non-horror-ish books. Because even his non-horror books have a horror element to them. And you can expect that this one is no different. Next up is Him. And Him is directed by Justin Tippin and starring Marlon Wayans, Tyreek Withers, and Julia Fox. Now this movie is coming out September 19th of 2025. And it is by Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions. Him, from what I've been told, is a mashup of a horror movie and a sports movie. It stars Tyreek Withers as Cameron Cade, a rising young football star who's being mentored by the close to retirement Isaiah White, who will be played by Marlon Wayans. Kane is drawn into the horrifying world of power and fame, and he realizes just how far some people will go for that fame. Now, that's kind of unique. That's got a strange little take on what we can expect for this movie. So I look forward to this movie and look forward to finding out more about these characters and what it entails. Next up is another one we've talked about on this channel, but it is one that I expect a lot more people to start talking about as well. And that is Strangers Chapter 2. Directed, of course, by Renny Harlin. And this movie is scheduled to release on September 26th of 2025. Now, this is the second saga, the second chapter in the new Strangers reboot. It will pick up from where the last one left off, just like we have talked about before. It has had some trailers that have dropped, and we've talked about those trailers. We've told you what we think, and I'm actually very excited about this movie, but I also expect that a lot of people are going to start talking about it. Is it good? Is it bad? We do know that this is supposed to be a trilogy of films, and if it's good, we could be looking forward to several more entries in this franchise as well. Next up is Keeper, directed by Osgood Perkins. And this movie is scheduled to release on October 3rd of 2025. And here's what it says about this movie that I find kind of intriguing. It says it is reminiscent of Gerald's Game. The horror feature follows a couple, Liz and Malcolm, who begin their anniversary adventure in a remote cabin. Malcolm has to unexpectedly leave to go back to the city, and things suddenly go very bad for Liz. This is from the guy who brought us The Monkey and the Critical Darling Longlegs. So I think that this could be something that could be fun. This movie could be one that we look forward to watching. And I expect that when it does come out, a lot of people will start to talk about it because Osgood Perkins is starting to actually become a recognizable name in the horror movie industry. Next up, we have Black Phone 2. And I expect that this one's going to be talked about a lot more than it already has been getting talked about. And this is another one of those movies, though, that people have begun to talk about because of the original Black Phone and also the premise of the movie that has been given to us. The movie is directed by Scott Derrickson, and it sees the return of Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, and Ethan Hawke. And the movie is scheduled for release on October 17th, 2025. In this movie, Ethan Hawke returns as the murderer, the Grabber. And the children will also return in this movie. So if you haven't heard anything about this movie, you need to check out the trailer for this movie. It is one that I expect big things from, and I'm super excited to see that it's coming out soon, that it's going to be something that happens, because I love the first movie. I thought the first movie was very different, and I see that they're going to be going a different way with this movie, but I honestly expect it to be fun. Next up on our list of movies coming out is The Third Parent. This movie is directed by David Michaels and starring Rob Lowe, Rosalind Sanchez, and Crispin Glover. So right there, you have a cast that looks just amazing. And this cast of characters is already something that's appealing to a lot of fans. If you're a fan of the 80s and 90s, you know who these people are, and that's a good thing. But what exactly is the plot? So the movie will be released on October 31st of 2025, and it is based apparently on a creepypasta. The third parent is the story about a terrifying supernatural third parent named Tommy Taffy, who emerges to wreak havoc on an unsuspected family. Now, Tommy Taffy is being played by Crispin Glover, and the other parents are Rob Lowe and Rosalind Sanchez. Now, right there, this movie has me. You put Crispin Glover as your villain, and this movie has potential. To get Crispin Glover to come in and do a film like this where he gets to play the bad guy, which he does surprisingly well. He plays creepy unlike anyone I've ever seen before. He has a really cool vibe about doing so. And also, this movie being based on a creepypasta. Wow, that's something I could see a lot more movies doing. But this particular movie especially is going to have a lot of fun with it. It's not a creepypasta that I personally know, which makes me excited for it even more. The idea that there's so many creepypastas out there, there's so many we haven't heard of. If you have heard of this particular creepypasta, let me know in the comments if you think that this movie is going to be good or not. Next up on our list is Frankenstein 2025 from Guillermo del Toro, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. I always seem to mispronounce this poor guy's name. And it stars Oscar Isaac and Mia Goth. Now, this movie is scheduled to release sometime in November of 2025 on Netflix. No actual release date has been given as of the time of this video, but this Netflix original takes on the Mary Shelley classic, and this is a long-time passion project for the director. This film also has this amazing cast. Now, it doesn't tell us how true to the book the movie's gonna be, and a lot of people only know the Universal Monsters version of Frankenstein, so this is kind of one of those hit and miss types of things. I personally read this book at a very young age. I love the Frankenstein novel, and I also am a big fan of the Universal Monsters version. I kind of think that this movie will try to follow the book, but then again, who knows? Now, this list would not be complete without the next two on it. First up, we have Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Directed by Emma Tammi, starring Josh Hutcherson, who is returning. And we have this movie coming in on December 5th, 2025. Now, this movie will just be a continuation of the first one, which is based on a hugely popular video game. And if you're not familiar with them, there's several Let's Play videos of this I'm sure you can find on YouTube, if not other places. This is one of those games that has become a cultural icon of sorts, with people talking about it. There's been books, there's been all sorts of things with this movie. I've even seen Five Nights at Freddy's toys, Pops figures. I was a huge fan of this first movie, so I look forward to seeing what they do next. And then this one's kind of a strange one because this is Anaconda. That's right, the remake, and it is directed by Tom Gormican, and I am sorry if I mispronounced his name. I am absolutely sure I mispronounced his name. And this one stars Jack Black, Paul Rudd, and Selton Mello. Now, this doesn't seem like the type of cast that I would expect from the remake, but here we go. The movie is scheduled to release on Christmas Day of 2025, December 25th, 2025. And it is a revival, but this time an entirely new cast. No Ice Cube, no other cast members, just this new cast of characters. And this one says, as a giant snake comedically terrorizes Jack Black and Paul Rudd on Christmas Day, we can expect much slapstick comedy to abound. So I don't know what to make of that. That's just what it says. That's what it actually does say. And I could see this movie being a success for being a sort of comical take, or I could see this flopping really bad. So that's all of the horror movies coming out this year, at least the ones with a big enough budget to make waves. Now, a lot of these movies are ones that you've heard about, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of people have been talking about them or that they've been garnering a lot of news. And I think that's kind of sad. People are looking forward to things like the next Scream movie, like the next Scary movie, if you count that as a horror movie. And a bunch of other things in the horror industry are gaining a lot more attention when they aren't even scheduled to come out this year. And some of these movies I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about. So I thought it would be fun to take a look at some of these. And mind you, for every one of these big budget movies, there's 100 or 200 horror movies that come out every year that don't have nearly the budget that these are going to get or have the hype that these kind of have, even though people aren't necessarily doing thousands of videos and reminding you that these movies are coming out, they still have garnered a bit of attention. But that's where I'm going to leave it to you guys. Which of these movies excites you the most? Which ones do you want to see? Which ones do you have no desire to see? There's no wrong answer. I just want to hear your opinion. So make sure you're leaving me that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this conversation as well. And then don't forget to hit that like button. It's free. It helps the algorithm. And we definitely need that, because if you enjoy the positive side of fandom and don't want to hear all of the negativity, you need to tell YouTube that by hitting that like button so that they know that this video with a positive type of vibes is something that you want to see. Then make sure that you hit that subscribe button while you're down there. And while you're down there next to that subscribe button, there's also the notification bell. You're going to want to hit that too so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it. Fandom is family.